time to inlay the fretboard. Now I'm definitely going to do the 12th fret, but I haven't actually decided yet what I'm going to do with the other markers. Now I put a video out, please go watch it, giving some options, and those options were full markers on sort of 3, 5, 7, etc. With a similar motif, that's like full inlay. There's a lot of work involved. Or replacing some of those swirly motifs with just simple dot markers, just to save a little bit of time really. Or just doing the 12th fret. Now I realise there's probably another option here of maybe doing the 12th fret and the 7th fret. But I think what I want to see is what the 12th fret looks like just on its own. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video, and then a following video will do whatever else is needed, whatever that might be. I guess there's still time to comment. Yeah, let's get on and do the 12th. That one. I've got to get this right. I've got to be a little bit careful cutting these out because there's some bits of unevenness on the back, and my worry is that when I'm effectively radiusing them, I'm going to end up cutting through and bits of shell will disappear. So I need to avoid using certain bits of the shell. For instance, there's a hole on the back here that well, actually maybe it does show up on the front. I think that's the hole there. So I can use these bits, but I've just got to be a bit careful that I cut around the imperfections. How bizarre. It just doesn't want to stick for some reason. Oh my word. These are the blades I'm using. This is how tight I've got the blade. You can comment whether you think this is too tight. I'm going to use my little improvised nut and saddle vise to see whether I can hold that tiny little piece of abalone just to finish off the, just to file it parallel, which I was having trouble holding, as you saw. I've now got to fix these pieces in place and then cut around them with the scalpel. But that's going to be incredibly tricky. Being such a geometrical shape, I've got to get things exactly right. I mean, at the moment that isn't right because these edges are clearly not parallel. That might be better, but every small movement of my hands, just everything gets disturbed. In fact, I think the whole thing probably needs to be twisted a little bit that way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick them onto the original template with masking tape, but then I'm going to stick the template on, and I can very easily locate it very precisely between the frets and stick it all down. These won't of course stick flush because the fretboard is curved, but having 2 layers of masking tape and a layer of paper might actually help that. We'll see. But the first task I think is going to be to get that stuck onto there. For the tiny middle bar, I'm going to stick it directly onto the paper rather than have a layer of masking tape, which means there'll be glue on that which I'll have to scrape off or sand off, but I think it will make for a more secure bond. With such a tiny area, I'm not sure it would stick that well with using masking tape. Oops. The larger bits, I am putting them on masking tape first. Unfortunately, I'm going to do that again because I haven't quite got this right. This gap here is just a little bit bigger than this gap here, and I want this precise. The whole point of doing it like this is to make sure I'm absolutely accurate when it goes on the fretboard. So I'm going to do it again. Yeah. Of course, I've now got a layer of masking tape on here. And it turns out a layer of glue. The double-sided tape that used to be on here was still on there, which is shouldn't have been on there really, because it would have been reducing the adhesion. But I think that one's fairly solid. Maybe I've done myself a favour here. Always a danger of sticking your fingers. That looks a lot better. When I mentioned double-sided tape, that was in the original processing of the abalone. When I put it through the drum sander, it's much easier to use double-sided tape, but it does leave the undersides rather sticky. You have to attack them with naphtha or something to get rid of the residue, which I hadn't done. Must remember to do that before I glue them into the fretboard. That looks a lot better, so we just got to put that there and stick it down with super glue. I've got a small problem here, is I've got a lump of super glue in the way, which is making it difficult to cut through. I hadn't expected this. This is only just big enough to get in. Tricky. I think I'm through the super glue, so I think that's okay. I've gone a little bit over at the end here. think that'll be okay though. It's yeah. Again, there might be an excess of super glue here. Again, super glue. Having to cut through super glue really hampers you. Oop. Use the scalpel the right way around also helps. That's a much cleaner cut. I think we're probably there. I'm wondering whether the middle piece will now just pull off. Yes, it will. There we go. I don't think there's much cleanup to do. I think that fractured off cleanly. These may just twist off. Yep. The danger of trying to pull these off is, of course, that the piece will fracture. There's the strength in this direction. It's moving. Well, at least that means we've cut through the top there. Yeah, got a nice cut. Because this middle one's so small, I'm not going to use the router. I'm going to just see if I can just excavate, is that the word? By hand. I've thought about having the work clamped down, but I think this is easier because of the freedom it gives me. And yes, I'm pointing the chisel towards my fingers. Oh, just broken the tip of the scalpel. And it's in the slot. Still got a way to go here. I've got to get things squared up, but we're certainly getting there. Trying to get the corners as crisp as I can, because I suspect that's the reason I'm having fitting problems. It's a very snug fit, but I think it is a fit. I think we've just got to go deeper. I think I'm there, and I've also realised I have to be very careful about pushing this in, because I'm probably not going to get it out. I can press it in at that end and then very carefully I can press it in at that end, and the depth looks good. And I think I could probably press it right the way in, but I realise if I do that I will never get it out again. So I'm going to leave it there for now. I've run out of time, and I will route out the other parts in the next video. This is a sort of a part A video, I guess. So we'll see you in the next video for the rest of the inlay. This is taking quite a long time. I could have done with a simpler inlay maybe, but that looks a very good fit. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video, and we'll see you. Bye.